things like Monkey Blocks and Ghost Reactor, which are like new types of games, really, but they also just happen to be inside of Gorilla Tag. Maybe it'd be cool to make a game that's just all Monkey Blocks and it's totally its own thing, or all Ghost Reactor and it's totally its own thing. Those are always things that we're thinking about, and anytime we're thinking about what a new project we might make is, we're trying to take those ideas into consideration. So it's always a question of like, what's the best way to try this idea out? How do we show it off? How do people engage with it? How do we build it, even like as a team in a company? So it's always a discussion on that kind of thing. Those are the kinds of decisions we make together as a team. Nobody's just saying, hey, you go do this thing. So it's always kind of like that collaborative process for us.
What is the next gadget you're going to add to Super Infection?
I don't know. We have someone who has been doing a lot of Super Infection stuff. I don't think he's here today, so I can't give you an answer, but I want to say there was something that was getting made, but I genuinely just don't remember what it is. I'm sorry.
What do you think the future of Gorilla Tag is going to be?
What do I think the future of Gorilla Tag is going to be? Well, we have a panel talking about some of that tomorrow, but in a super quick nutshell, I would say I never imagined that Gorilla Tag would be where it is today, 5 years ago, when I first released it. And I have no idea where Gorilla Tag is going to be in another 5 years. But I know that our team just gets better all the time, our community's growing all the time, and everybody's so cool and everybody's so passionate that I'm sure that whatever it is, if we could show it to ourselves today, we would be like, oh my god, that's awesome.
Based on the Monkey Blocks are its own thing, what if you add like a Minecraft thing where you could chop down trees and build new blocks and actually build?
What would it be like to do something that's a little bit more like Minecraft, kind of building on some of the stuff we've done in Monkey Blocks? We talk about that kind of thing all the time, and people keep telling me that I'm not allowed to go off and make new games by myself. I always want to, though. I think something like that would be really cool. That's another case where I can't make any promises, but I would say we've always got new ideas. We're always thinking about what new stuff we could make, and we're always trying to figure out what is that experience that nobody else is giving people that we want to give people a chance to have. So I would say, obviously nothing to announce or anything, and we're not working on anything at the moment, but I wouldn't be surprised to see cool stuff like that in the future. I think that would be a lot of fun to make.
So, on the topic of Eves, is it just like coincidence, or is it like planned updates that both of y'all's games are getting space updates towards the same time?
That's a funny question. There's okay, this is gonna date me a little bit, but this was like 15 years ago or something. There were two movies that came out at the same time. One was called The Prestige, and one was called something else. But they were both movies about magicians, and they came out at like the exact same time. And it was just a coincidence, but it looked weird. For our space map, we had no idea they were building that kind of thing, but actually at the beginning of the year, or actually at the end of last year, the beginning of this year, when we did that first Moon Monster event, we were thinking that we would lead up to the space map. So we didn't have the specific plan, but we had the general sense that that's kind of where things were going. So we've been building to this for a while, and then we saw that they did a space map, and it's like, that looks awesome. People are going to ask us questions now. It was genuinely just a total coincidence. I will say just in general, part of what's really cool about building games is that everyone's kind of jamming and riffing on different things. I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that Gorilla Tag having walking hand locomotion, inspired the Eves developers. And that's awesome, right? We made the game to inspire other people. And Gorilla Tag wouldn't have existed without games like Echo Arena. So everybody's kind of building on things. And when you're doing stuff like that, everybody's kind of thinking, well, what's a new thing we can make? What's a new thing we can mess around with? So people are always exploring these ideas, and often people just coincidentally come to similar things. Hey, what if we mess around with gravity? What if there's zero gravity? Or you could have these little planets? What if you could go to outer space? Those are really cool ideas. And when people kind of have similar ideas, it's not because anybody's like taking stuff from each other. It's just because you're both creative people. You both have a cool idea. So I think a lot of that's happening, and I think that's honestly great because that's how you get the best ideas, right? You see what other people are making, you get inspiration. You try a new type of thing, they try a new type of thing. So honestly, I think it's awesome. Like, I think it's really cool stuff they've been building. I think it's really cool all the stuff that the UGG guys have been building, and Scary Baboon, and all these other games. And I always think that the creativity and hard work is really awesome, and I'm just glad to see that everybody's pushing and making new stuff. I think it's really cool.
Okay. So we all know that Ghost Reactor is like a kind of like a scary map. But it's also kind of like surviving with the baton and stuff. Have you ever thought of adding like a scary game mode that's kind of like, because you know how other Will Attack fan games have, like, for example, Scary Baboon, Big Scary. They just like, there's no really like survival, it's just like just trying to escape monsters. Have you ever thought of like a game mode that's like that?
Have you ever thought of something that's more like a survival type game mode? I think that would be really fun. You know, we've got a lot of things that are like little bits and pieces. You know, in Critters, we had the backpack, and you would put stuff in there, and you would go on a little journey. One of the things that I think that we tried to do with Gorilla Tag is not be too like scary, right? Like, I think that with Gorilla Tag, I like that. Okay, I'm gonna out myself a little bit. I'm a big scaredy cat. Like, if you've ever played The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, the VR game, in the beginning of the game, you go through like this mausoleum, and like there are these spooky sounds and stuff. And after I played that part, I was like, I feel terrible. I'm not having any fun, and I'm just scared. I don't want to play this anymore. So I didn't want to make a game that was like too scary, because I think that, you know, life is stressful enough, and I didn't want people to be like feeling, you know. That said, all these other games are doing really cool stuff, and I think that's great. So it wasn't the game that I wanted to make. But I think a survival game would be super cool. You know, that was kind of the idea behind Ghost Reactors. You go deeper, and if you dive, you might lose your stuff, or it might fall in a pool of acid and you can't get it again. But I think a game totally around like going on an adventure, going into the wilderness, and seeing how far you can go. I think that would be a lot of fun. I think that'd be a great idea for a game.
Can you bring back Ambush or something like Ambush?
Can we bring back Ambush? I think we definitely could. You know, that's another one of those game modes that I think is really fun, especially for like Halloween spooky times. I know I just said I don't like it when it's too scary, and Ambush was a little bit scary, but I think that's cool. Yeah, I'd love to bring it back.
Would you think of like a new Doug or anything?
New Doug. You know, we did have a bug that was in the bayou. And, you know, sometimes during spring, you know, Doug finds a friend. You know, we've got Nat, or the bat. We've got the shark. So I think I would expect to keep seeing new animals and stuff all over the place, you know, every so often.
When did you decide to add story, and how far ahead have you planned with it?
When did we decide to add a new story, and what was that?
And how far ahead have we planned it?
And how far ahead? That depends on who you talk to. There's always been a ton of lore in the game, and people always want to see more, so the thought behind the events was kind of like, we wanted to show off more of it. We've planned, it depends on the day. Sometimes I feel like we planned really far ahead, and sometimes I feel like we planned past next week. But we've got some plans for the rest of the year. I'll put it like that.
Just quick time check. We're at about 5 minutes left, so 5 more questions.
Can you add infection back to Swamp?
We had Infection back to Swamp. Yeah, so that was another spot where we tried to add a new game mode. We had a top hunt. That actually came out of the game jam too. Yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun to play Infection in that map. So maybe we figure out a way to like change the game mode at different times, or maybe we bring it back to Infection for a patch or two. I think that's a fun idea.
Are you gonna add surfboards to the beach?
Are we gonna have surfboards to the beach? No immediate plans, but I think that'd be a fun idea. You know, we've had like the hoverboards area, which I think is super cool. So you know, surfboards could be fun too.
What is the green bug's name in forest?
What is the green box and what?
The green bug.
Oh, the green bug. I don't know. I am not creative enough to name a creature. I just I had a fish when I was a kid, and I called it Fishy. So
I believe his name is Beacon.
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 Yes. I did not name Beacon. I would have called it Buggy.
Can you make a special, like, can you make it a forest map? So there's like critters in it too.
Sorry, what was that?
Add a special thing in the forest map where there's critters.
Add critters to the forest map. I think something like that could be a lot of fun. You know, I'd love to have my own little pet that's following me around that I could play with and feed. I think that could be really cool.
Where did you get the name Lemming from?
Where did I get the name Lemming from? Okay, so I play a lot of first-person shooter games, and the way I play is I run directly towards the enemy and I die really fast. So I thought it was funny to call myself Lemming, and I chose that name when I was like 10 years old, and I still use it.
All right. You talked about, so we know that there's different planets and stuff in space. What about like universes? Like is Contagion and Monkey Mayhem, are they in separate like universes from the main game?
You will probably have to wait and find out. No spoilers.
Ready, player one?
Is Monkus ever gonna fight the meteor monster?
Is Monkus ever going to fight the meteor monster? I think you're just going to have to wait and find out. You know, who knows what Monkus was doing while Pork was drilling? Because they eventually found that obelisk that opened a portal to outer space. You know, who knows why he was doing that? I think that you might find out. And there are certain people who are here who are very excited about the idea.
Could you add what NPCs in city?
We have NPCs in city. You know, that's kind of a tough question. I like NPCs, but what I like about VR is how much it feels like you're there with people, and I would worry that an NPC would feel really fake, right? Like if you put your hand in someone's face, right? They always kind of like, they don't want it, so they fall back. And if we had an NPC that was like totally wooden, it might feel a little fake. So I would say, I think it's a fun idea. I want to figure out a way to do something like that feels really good. And if we have a really good idea for it, then maybe we'll do it.
Will you bring back the makeshift, like, plushies, like the OG?
Will we bring back the OG makeshift plushies? I don't know. Sorry.
In Monkey Mayhem, would you add a mic so you can talk to other people?
Would we add a mic to Monkey Mayhem? Yeah, that's currently in the plans to make sure there are ways to talk to people. Since it's a different platform, you know, there are a lot of things to consider. Like the mics on a lot of phones are not very good. So we've done some tests where the quality is so bad that you can't really understand what people are saying anyway. But then, you know, you might connect your own headphones, or maybe you have a phone with a good quality mic. So that's something we're working on improving over time. You know, it's still pretty early. The game's not coming out till next year. But currently we are planning on having voice chat and something.
All right, well, they're going to start kicking people out soon, so this is going to be the last question.
What made you make Rotag and the Yeeps or Nog are allies or rivals?
I think that we're all doing the same really hard work. I think that the better we do, the better they do, and vice versa. I think all of our goal is to make stuff in VR that's fun for people to play. And I think the better we do at that, and the better they do at that, the better it is for everyone. Because they're going to bring new people into VR. We're going to bring new people into VR. They'll play different games. And we're not making the same game either, right? Like, maybe some people like our game better, not because our game is better, but just because it's a better fit for how they like to play stuff, you know? We're not going to give people the same experience they are, and I think that it's awesome to see what they're building, and I think that they think it's awesome to see what we're building. So I really think that we're all trying to do the best for each other, and the better we do, the better they do. I think we're all on the same team at the end of the day.
Awesome. Thank you so much for attending the AMA. That's it for tonight.
Thanks, everybody. Hold on. I'm being pulled off the stage. I can't stick around. I will be here all day tomorrow too, and I can't wait to see you guys at day 3 of VidCon. Thanks for coming. See you guys later. I'm sorry, they're gonna be mad at me if I don't leave. I'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks for being here.